A poor boy named Harrison sat every day on the stone steps of an old church in London. His clothes were torn, his shoes barely holding together. He slept on a thin cloth under a tree in the nearby park, the ground his bed, the sky his roof. He couldn't remember the last time he had eaten a full meal, or the last time he had rested on a soft mattress. Each morning, as the cold air pressed against his bones, he forced himself to smile. "At least I am alive," he thought. With folded hands, he greeted the strangers as they passed by. Some gave him coins, some food, but most didn't even glance his way. One afternoon, a little boy dropped a packet of biscuits into his bowl and gave Harrison a pure, innocent smile. That smile pierced his heart. For a moment, Harrison wanted to cry, not from hunger, but because he felt seen. But Harrison hadn't always been invisible. Once he had a family, a home, and dreams. He grew up in a small village where his father worked as a farmer and his mother cared for the family. They were poor, yet happy. Harrison loved mathematics, and he dreamed of becoming a teacher one day. His father would often say, "Study hard, Harrison. You will make us proud." But when Harrison was 14, the rains failed. Their crops withered, debts piled up, and despair filled their home. His father, once strong and hopeful, sat crying under a tree one evening. That night, he drank poison. He never woke again. Harrison's world collapsed. His mother grew sick. His sister had to quit school. To save his family, Harrison left for the city, carrying nothing but hope. At first, he found small jobs, washing dishes, carrying crates. But the city was merciless. He was shouted at, slapped, and finally thrown onto the streets with nothing. Slowly, hunger ate away at his pride, until one day he stretched out his hand and begged for food. Shame burned inside him, but survival was stronger. Life on the streets was cruel. Cold nights, empty stomachs, the sound of traffic rushing by while no one noticed him. He saw beggars die quietly on the pavements, their bodies left for hours. Sometimes he feared the same fate awaited him. Yet a small spark inside him whispered, "Hold on, Harrison. Maybe tomorrow will be different." That tomorrow came in the form of a stranger. One morning, weak and dizzy from hunger, Harrison saw a woman approach him. She wore a simple dress and carried a bag of food. She knelt beside him, handed him a bottle of water, and asked softly, "What's your name?" "Harrison," he whispered. Her name was Emily. She worked with a small charity that helped the homeless. She listened patiently as Harrison poured out his story, his father's death, his broken dreams, his fall into begging. Unlike others, she didn't judge. She simply said, "Would you like to come with me? We can give you food, clothes, maybe even a job." Harrison hesitated, then thought of the old beggar who had died beside him days ago. He gathered courage and said, "Yes." That single yes changed his life. At the shelter, Harrison bathed after many weeks. He put on clean clothes, ate 2 warm meals, and slept on a bed. That night, tears streamed down his face, not of sadness, but of relief. For the first time in years, he felt human again. Emily visited often, bringing books, soap, and sometimes sweets. One day she asked, "Harrison, are you ready to work again?" She introduced him to a man who ran a small tea shop. Harrison started by washing cups and serving tea. It wasn't much, but it gave him dignity. For the first time in years, he was earning, not begging. Weeks turned into months, Harrison saved small coins, storing them in a pouch. He told Emily about his mother and sister, wondering if they were still alive. She promised to help. One evening, she returned with tears in her eyes and a paper in her hand. "Harrison," she said, "we found them. They're alive. They live in a village not far from here." Harrison's hands trembled. His heart raced. That Sunday, dressed in his cleanest shirt, he traveled with Emily to the village. The moment he saw his mother, he collapsed into her arms, sobbing like a child. His sister, now grown taller, wept as well. After years of emptiness, Harrison felt whole again. Today, Harrison still works at the tea shop. He rents a small room, eats 2 meals a day, and visits his mother every month. But more importantly, he has started helping others on the streets, just as Emily once helped him. Because Harrison knows what it feels like to be forgotten. And he also knows what it feels like to be saved by kindness.
The story of Harrison reminds us that no life is ever truly lost, as long as there is hope and kindness. Poverty, failure, and loneliness can break a person, but even a single act of compassion has the power to rebuild them. We never know how deeply a small gesture, a smile, a meal, a kind word can touch someone's heart and change their path. Life may strip us of everything, but dignity returns when love and humanity reach out a hand. Stories like Harrison's remind us that hope can rise from the darkest places. If you want to see more real journeys of struggle, courage, and transformation, hit subscribe and join us. Be part of these stories and feel the change. And don't forget, type Harrison in the comments to show you were inspired.